Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, just Darcy here.
This is Big Geek Umar. Happy New Year, y'all.
Ooh, yeah. Happy New Year. Forgot.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
that's right. Happy New
First
Year.
podcast of 2023.
That's right.
Absolutely. It's all down here from here. All downhill from here.
We've been doing this for 3 years.
For real. I know we started the podcast,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, because we started it during
Pandemic.
pandemic. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
we're
damn.
entering
Well,
our third year.
this is nostalgia kicking in right here.
That's
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, we still haven't gotten really much better at our own.
Umar, it's because we wait for you to get that transition.
I
and
wait
then
for
you just...
tactics.
No, I just do the intro. That's it. That's I did my part, bro. Where were you? Where were you?
Now that we've established this, Umar, waiting on you to do that transition.
Okay. All right. So the first bit but just a little bit of housekeeping for newcomers. If you're not watching us live or you're not listening to us live, check the descriptions. You'll see timestamps for all of our topics. If there's any one in particular you want to go to, click on that, go right to it. Now, first topic is going to be another touch base with Tactix, because our bro got further along in My Hero Academia. By the way, I got this from family.
By the way, for those listening to the podcast, he's talking about a My Hero Academia t-shirt that he's wearing right now, because they definitely can't see it.
It's very true. Thank you for reminding me of that part. Anyway, so touch base with Tactix, because he got further along in My Hero Academia Season 6. So T, ooh, that's a good image. T, what'd you think? So you said it was a bit premature for us to talk to you when you had done like the first 5 episodes, but now you're almost caught up. I think that you just haven't watched the last 2 episodes because they English dub don't have them. But
No shame.
you were saying you weren't really feeling this season because you were kind of like still up on the hype of season 2 of Demon Slayer season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Where are you feeling now that you've like almost caught up?
All right. So first of all, slight correction. I was only 3 episodes in. That's why I said it was premature. Not 5, because some shit happens after the 3rd episode. So that's when like shit starts to really pick up. So yeah, once I continued from there, I was overwhelmed with the amount of badassery that ended up happening as a result of this motherfucker right here on screen waking up
Shigaraki.
and just wreaking havoc on an entire town. Like, man, I didn't like. I knew that when he got upgraded, he was gonna be a problem, but yeah, he's a problem. But okay, so here's another thing that I'm kind of wondering, and I'm sure you guys probably know the answer to this now. How is it that Deku went 100% and he's still standing? I don't
Actually, I don't know
like how are his limbs still attached and just not blown completely off? Because it's almost, it didn't even phase him, or at least maybe he's like pumped
Well,
up on adrenaline where it's like, no, but you don't see. Well, from where I left off,
he
like
was
it
using
seemed
a
like
new
it.
ability. He was using his abilities to like he wrapped his shit up. So like that's the only thing I could think. Like it like gave him some mild protection, but like also he's been at 45% semi regularly. So 45% to like 100%. Oh no, that's still a big jump.
It is, but I mean, I guess extended 45% usage would build up some kind of strength over time. I think there's definitely levels of how much he's using his other abilities, kind of intermixing them, and maybe we'll find out more, or maybe it's just pure adrenaline for sure.
Yeah. Well, he actually hasn't used any of his like his appendages yet, right? It was just all that the
It
stuff
was
that was
just
coming
punching.
out of him. Yeah. So I don't know. I still can't really wrap my head around how that's even possible, other than maybe he's just pumped up on adrenaline or sheer will and he tapped into something, or maybe the first wielder One for All
Protect
had something to do with it. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but
Okay, but like
that was pretty cool.
so,
That
walk us through your reactions from like episode 3 when you saw like Mirko being a bunny badass, and then like
yeah, that
where
was
we are.
cool.
Yeah,
That was cool. So what I really enjoyed is kind of the debate or the argument that you often see in a lot of, well, the one that comes to mind is with Magneto, where he's a type of villain where he doesn't believe that he's a villain. He believes that he's a savior of some sort, or he's
yeah,
like he's he's doing the world a service by his actions. And I feel like with that conversation with the blue hair, no, what, the Endeavor's son, basically, that guy, and then he had the
Dabby?
oh, okay, so yeah, so like
yeah,
a big spoiler
and he was
reveal, FYI, Dobby is Endeavor's eldest son, Toya.
Big
yeah.
spoiler for you if
So
you are the only people who are watch dubs.
yeah, uh, exactly. I think I'm the only one, Umar, so you don't have to worry about that. But
Just making sure.
yeah, so the statement that he made about how he was basically calling heroes out and basically saying that they were hypocrites for killing twice.
Twice.
Did I remember
Oh,
that?
look
Ah,
at this
shit. Okay,
guy.
there we
Look at this guy.
go.
Got
There we
Dobby's name
go.
down, getting twice names down.
Actually, I didn't get the first guy's name down.
Oh,
I think you corrected me on that, but I got twice down, so get points for that. But yeah, so they called them out for being hypocritical, which I always find to be interesting how like the villain's perspective or perception on their their own motives and how they feel what they think they're doing is right in contrast to that of the heroes.
yeah.
Um, because I enjoy when heroes can justify their actions in a very kind of like sound way, in a sense, like where you're almost like, damn, like Killmonger is another one where it's like, yeah, I don't agree with the approach, but you're making a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty cool. And then obviously the fight between him and Hawk, where it was cool. And then what's his name? Oh man, I just looked this guy's name up today. Um, oh my gosh, the dude who cut his
Powers?
leg off.
Oh,
Uh,
Eraser.
Eraser. Yeah,
Eraserhead.
there we go. Yeah, that scene got me. I was like, oh my gosh, that was wicked. I
Like
was not
honestly,
expecting that.
I would have lost my shit at that episode if I didn't see him pull out his like knife at the end of the episode.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, he gonna
Yeah,
cut off his leg, and then like
yeah,
he cut off his leg, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So quickly too, like without
it,
hesitation, just
yeah,
like
Yeah.
that. I was
He
like,
even said that.
wow.
Like, I can do
Yeah,
this now without hesitation. Like he
right.
literally
Like
said those words.
that was nutty. So yeah,
and then he
that moment was
grabs his
cool.
face.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of great imagery this season. There's still so many
Question.
stones unturned that I'm still waiting on. But yeah, go ahead.
What was your feelings in the moment when Shigaraki just decimated that city and everybody had to get off the ground and not everybody did?
I was there for that, so like I'm gonna wait until he says.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool.
He did not.
It
He was like, yeah, okay.
because here's my thing. Like
Yeah.
I honestly I'm still recovering. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm still recovering from Demon Slayer, bro. Like I like Demon Slayer, the way that those last couple episodes
Yeah.
played out, it was like I was like, is this gonna be like the final? Is this the final season? Like, because it seemed like everyone was gonna die. Like, I just thought that this is it. This is the only anime where the heroes don't come out on top. Like, it's a wrap. And I was like, wow. Like I felt the stakes with this with My Hero Academia. I know that going into this, it's early on in the season, and so yeah, that
Mm.
scene was massive. It was major, but I know that this is like insignificant in comparison to what's to come. So I'm trying not to get too excited. And this one, while it was grand in terms of its execution, I know that there's going to be something much bigger than that. Because Shigaraki is not at full capacity yet either.
No.
Right? They stopped.
Yeah.
He woke up prematurely. So like when that happens, if that ends up happening in this season or later on down the line, that is going to be like what he did now is going to be like small potatoes in comparison to what he is going to do when he's at 100%. And then on top of that, his fight with Deku, when Deku can master 100%, that is what I'm waiting for.
So first off, how do you go from reviewing something to hyping me into the rest of the season? I was just like, so at first when you started answering that, I was gonna say, like, my nigga, what the fuck? That's what's gonna be the beginning.
But you know the funny thing is about that, Darcy? Because like I was reacting that way when I was watching it. I was like, because I was like watching him like this, and then I'm just like,
oh, I know exactly how you'd be, Umar.
I was like waiting for him to say something, and he was like, that's some fucked up shit. I was like, that's it? And then what the weird thing was, immediately after that scene, because Shigaraki's like, oh, I gotta go find One for All, and he like starts going after Deku, and like T gets into it at that point. He's just like, yo, Deku, you gotta bounce. And then like Deku's like freaking out. He's like, why are you staying? Run, motherfucker, run! And I was just like,
yeah, you
because I know that like
movie at that point.
Yeah, because I know all it takes is just one touch to end this guy. So I'm like, you can't control. He's upped his power level. You can't control your 100%, or at least that's what I thought. So you got to get all of these people out of there. And on top of that, he's got this new power where he can pinpoint your exact location. So you're pretty much fucked. You like, I don't know how you're gonna get out of this. So that's why I was like, yo, just get out of there. Like, don't even worry about everyone else. Just because if he gets One for All, then y'all are screwed anyway.
And he Spider-Man his way out of there.
Yo,
yeah, that was cool.
I respect Deku in how he was handling these fights, because it's like it's been a minute, I guess, since I feel like I've seen him do this stuff, just like literal time in between episodes, where he's just like, he's really smart in the fight. He's really smart at like how to counter things, like in desperate death situations. And he's like a paper distance away from something, and yet he knows how he's calm. But yeah, okay. Because when I saw that Shigaraki piece, I was blown away by how like the stakes got raised. But Tactix, I will respect the fact that Umar and I had like 6, 7, 8 months or whatever, or 9 months, 10 months, whatever it is, between the moment we saw the end of season 2 from Demon Slayer to watching this. And if I watched them that close together, that'd be hard.
Yeah, like you watched season 2 this summer, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, I do want to ask though. Okay, so like because we all hung out, you had no reaction to this.
I'm not even gonna lie. I forgot who this was. I forgot who it was, so it didn't even hit me. I was like, oh, someone just died. Okay.
Yo. So someone better shield this man's heart, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh.
By the way, it's the shield dude.
Crushed.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's sad.
All right, but okay, so we've covered up until Shigaraki shows up, and Deku and Kachan have gotten away from everybody, and like Shigaraki shows up. What'd you think of Endeavor versus Shigaraki?
Yo, that was laughable, to be honest, because I'm just like, yo, I feel like aside from him fighting against the Nobu, I feel like this guy is like desperately trying to like rank high amongst the heroes, and he's like, everything that I've seen him in aside from that fight, it's just kind of been like you're just second best compared to All Might, bro, and you still haven't made a name for yourself. You know what I mean? And then on top of this, dude is getting wiped. He's getting wiped by this guy. It's like I'm not impressed. I'll be honest. Like I'm like, you haven't really done anything that has really impressed me. Like, cause
what about his
I'm still
second
thinking of it.
prominence burn?
I'm just kind of like, man, you gotta step your shit up, bro. Like you're coming up after All Might, bro. So you got to do some almighty shit, and you haven't really done it yet, in my eyes. That's my opinion. I'm still waiting for him to like the Nobu fight was dope. I'll give him that, but we need to give that man more like comeuppance in terms of like the fighting. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like they haven't really given him the credibility that he deserves, at considering that he's now the number one hero. So yeah, I don't know. I wasn't all that impressed, if I'm being completely honest.
I respected his like attempts. Like he was going up against like a would be all for one. So that's why I was kind of like, he's also like, he doesn't have the full facts. He's like learning as the fight goes on.
Yeah, a would be all for one. Okay, let me ask you, so do you think All Might in his prime could have taken this guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
Because in his prime, he would have more control of everything. And yeah, like I feel like
Endeavor's supposed to be in his prime, isn't he? As a number one hero.
Never at the same level though. He never could be at the same level.
But that's my point. That's why I'm not all that impressed, because we just had All Might, and now we have Deku, who even at 45%, this man's wrecking shit. Not to say that Deku could like handle Endeavor easily, but I mean, like, come on, man, you're the number one hero now. You got to step your shit up a little bit.
I will say it was Darcy. Go on. I feel bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Darcy. Yeah.
No, it wasn't that. It's something you said that made me think. Just like, oh, Endeavor and Deku, and I was like, especially after this fight, I honestly feel like Endeavor's going to respect Deku so significantly that I think I'm hoping we'll get like just like a 5-minute scene of them training together, and it's like straight on them fighting each other, just to like see what like just to see like Deku and Bakugo like and Todoroki like go head to head with Endeavor, just for like, oh, we're just training and sparring, but Endeavor's gonna be like, I'm not gonna fucking play around.
No, he's already done that. Because the thing is, he's already been training them the last season.
But like,
that's why they're at the level.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, did we see like a head-to-head fight? Because he was training them like, he was trying to show up with me, right?
He was like, catch up.
Yeah. I just mean like having a head-to-head fight, like Endeavor realizing how high the stakes are, and how high the stakes are for these kids as well, who are clearly not going to back down. And so being like, if we're really going to get better, we got to go head to head. And he'll probably have a conversation with All Might about stuff, blah, 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 blah. Because like, they're going to clearly have conversations. It's part of the arc. And I just would love to see them for like in one episode, just a training and just being like Endeavor doing some crazy ass shit, and Deku being like, just doing a thing around, like flying around it, and Bakugo coming up and doing something, and be like, damn, okay, this is just fun. This is a good time.
I gotta say, I know we've already talked about it, but like Eraser saved everybody in the hero side. Like without him, he had an entire team keeping him alive. Like
I love that. I love that. I love when you see how do I put this? It's like a military thing, like that's in me. Just knowing, like, know your role. And sometimes your role is eye lubricant for the guy who's saving everybody. And I will do everything to keep this guy's eyes open. And the other guy's like, I will do everything to keep this man standing. Right? I just love that. Like, it's not ego. It's like, this is what is needed right now to try and save everybody. So this is what I will do without question.
So okay,
Yeah.
mild spoiler for Tactics. I'm not going to say who said this, but like Darcy, they said that in the last episode of My Hero, essentially because like the dude who's like every single person, every single small time hero from the beginning of this operation to right now has been a single thread, and this thread has been the one that's been able to capture and do what we've been able to accomplish so far. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just, yeah, it's just.
Also, can we give an applause to Karishma, Red Riot, who got himself like crushed by his massive opponent, who like Makia is scary. And also like Mountain Lady, good for her. Like that woman got on top of this dude and ripped open his mouth so like a bunch of kids can throw like anesthetic at him. I'm
She
just like,
got beat.
she
She
was
got.
taken down.
And what happened to our girl with the thing? Like, she just completely like evaporated. Like the one with it just had
Her?
her visor left over. No, not her. The
Oh,
other one,
Midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she dead. She has to be dead because you saw blood like from her head.
Oh, so bad, so bad.
Yeah, this like these fights. So T, was there any point in this like was there any point while watching like this season that you felt it was at the level of season 2 for Demon Slayer?
No.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
yet. Not yet. But I know it's coming.
How do you feel about Kachan?
Oh, so like I said, that was semi spoiled for me last week when I was looking for the photos
Right.
for that. That was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, that something's gonna happen to him. I don't know. I don't know anything further from there because where I left off, the fight was still kind of in the midst of wrapping up,
Happening.
but it was still happening. So I don't know what the aftermath of that is yet.
There is one question I want to ask both of you because Darcy, you and I haven't talked about this. What do you guys think about the quirk personality thing, where like even All For One has been saying, I keep having nightmares of the people whose powers I keep taking. But like that's just like it's like a part of their essence goes with you whenever you take their ability. What do you guys think of that aspect?
In general, I'm not a huge fan of that concept. Like
Interesting.
when somebody embodies somebody else, takes the personalities with them. Mostly because I've seen it done a couple times really good, and then other times I just feel like I how to put it, like when you see something that's really really interesting, and then you see other shows take that concept, and you're like, I've seen this before. I kind of know it's coming, right? Like, but I'm not saying I'm against it. It's just more like I either hope it's just like a thing that they mention and it's not really a big deal, or if it is a big deal, find something unique and interesting about it. Because otherwise, I just feel like it's going to be, oh, and just at the right moment, the other personality is going to come in and affect things and change a battle that was clearly someone was going to lose and now they're going to win. And it just feels to me like as much as it can be really, really interesting and make a lot of logical sense, sometimes it can just be an easy way to shift the story where you want it to go. I forget the word for it, but like, what's that thing where it's like you just happen to have
Cop
a
out?
thing? What's that?
A cop out?
Yeah. There was like another storytelling way
Plot
where it's just like,
device?
yeah, all these things. But yeah, like an easy plot device to just switch the direction. And I'm just like, oh, that's convenient at that exact moment. And yes, they can make sense, but to me, sometimes it's just kind of like, yeah, that I wanted this character. Like, let's say it was like Deku and he gets saved by the voice, right? Versus like Deku's ingeniousness in a very last minute pinch second where he comes up with something. To me, I'd rather have Deku show his ingenious than he just be saved by this other internal thing. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't get like too many plot device moments for me.
T?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that sentiment of what Darcy just said. But it also kind of reminds me of a documentary that I watched a while back. It was basically on heart transplants and how people were reporting that. So, for example, like there was one lady on it who was talking about how she had received a heart transplant, and when she got the new heart, she started having all of these unusual cravings for spicy food, and like she started enjoying different types of music that she was never really like receptive to prior to. And then she went and did some research on who her heart belonged to, who the new heart belonged to, and it turned out that it was a guy who, like, she was getting all this information about him, and it turns out he loved spicy food and he loved alternative rock and blah blah blah, and all the things that she had acquired from him from just having his heart is like implanted in her. So it kind of reminded me of that in a sense of like when when a person passes on and you start to take on the essence of their being naturally. It's kind of similar to spirit, where like your spirit kind of takes on the some of the attributes that it learned from the human experience, and when it goes into somebody else's um essence or their other body, they start to kind of adopt some of those attributes as well, right? But I agree with Darcy in the sense where I hope that they can explore that in a creative way, and it's not just used as a plot device to kind of act as a cop out, like what you were saying, Umar, in terms of like, just pushing the narrative along in a lazy kind of way. I hope that if they are going to kind of explore that, then it has a much deeper rooted purpose other than just serving a lazy narrative kind of thing.
For me, I would say that my opinion of it is I think that's what they're going to do in terms of rehabilitating Shigaraki. I think that especially how it was appearing is that All for One is going to be the actual main villain, and that he's actually going to be controlling Shigaraki from prison. And Shigaraki and him have already had this like kind of a telepathy sort of thing where, and this is a mild spoiler for you, Tactix, but like Deku is actually having a small amount of pity for Shigaraki. And it could be that if like Shigaraki is a prisoner of the person who traumatized him and like purposely turned him into a weapon, that is probably the plot device in order to like create sympathy for Shigaraki, even though he's doing all these horrible things. That's what I'm theorizing.
Okay.
Okay, one last question before we move on. T, was there any moment when you were watching, because like you have to understand, Darcy and I were watching this week by week, which means every episode we were just like, fuck, we have to wait another week to find out. Was there any point where you're like, okay, I gotta watch the next episode. Okay, I gotta watch the next episode. Okay, I gotta watch the next episode.
Yeah, when I was watching it with you right before we met up with Darcy.
I forgot about that.
And you were like, and you were telling me, it's like, yeah, we like after the episode ended, we were like, yo, you were like, we gotta go. And I'm like, yo, we could probably squeeze in one more episode. And he's like, nah, we gotta meet Darcy. Like he's gonna be there at like 9 or whatever. So we get there, and Darcy, like you message Darcy, and he's like, oh, I'm running 15 minutes behind. I'm like, this motherfucker. Like we could have stayed, bro. But no, Umar always has to be on time.
Okay.
So yeah, to answer your question,
after that, was there any point that you were like, no, I gotta keep going?
No, I just kept going, bro. I had like I'm on holiday still, so I just kept it pushing, bro. It'd be different if I was in school still at that time. If I had class the next day, then I'd be like, oh, I'm kind of screwed because I'm really into this and I should stop. Actually, so I think the last 2 or 3 episodes, it was like I was watching them really late, and it was like 2 a.m. and I think I had to be somewhere. I had an appointment or something like that, and I'm like, shit, man. I'm like, but I stopped myself because I'm like, yeah, if I go any further, then I'm not making it to this appointment the next day. So.
Okay, so now since you're still on holidays, are there any other anime you're going to be watching in that meantime?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't get your hopes up, Umar. And you can blame Darcy for this one, but I'm kind of on that Reacher binge right now, bro. But so I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Good.
And I think I'm like on episode like 6 or 7, and there's only 8 episodes per season. So
T, how many episodes of Full Metal did you get through? Like, it was just the first episode, right?
No. I'm at the part where the dad transforms his daughter into some kind of creature or something like that.
Oh, you got that far.
Yeah. That's where
serious.
I'm at right now. Yeah.
Oh, how did you? Okay, we're gonna do a sidestep. How do you feel about Full Metal now? Because that's like what, like 6-7 episodes in?
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating it to get that dark. So that one caught me off guard. I was like, holy bro. And it just there's no happy ending. Like the dude literally like he's just like, yeah, you don't deserve to live like this to the daughter and just offs the daughter. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? I'm like, all right, okay.
Do you know
that
that came out in like 2003 or like 2013 or something like that? Like it was in both series, and people still like, it's like a good like 15-20 years since this all thing has happened. People like, whenever someone makes a joke about it or makes like some sort of like TikTok about it, people still are like, too soon.
Yeah, I don't know how you make a joke about that. No.
The people are like, oh, father of the year right now.
Two things you don't mess with, okay? Young children, okay? And if John Wick told you anything, dogs.
Yeah.
Now, if you go mess with them both at the same time and then mess with them in a way where you bring them together in a horrifying way, yeah, no. I agree. Yeah. It's still too soon.
I saw a guy, he posted this on like Instagram because I was going through it, and he kind of had like, do you remember the fusion dance from Dragon Ball?
Oh God, no.
He had the two of them smiling during the fusion dance, and like he was getting ripped to shreds in the comments.
Wow.
People were like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree with the comment section. Like, why you gotta put that? Why you gotta make us feel that? Like, that's not an emotion I need to feel.
Yeah.
All right, cool. To be fair, Tactix, I'm actually pretty happy with your progress with Full Metal. I thought you were still at episode 1.
Nah. I got pretty far. Well, not pretty far, but far enough for me.
By the way, before we move on to the next topic, speaking about progress, Umar, do you know what episode I'm on in One Piece at this point? And you're welcome. Motherfucker, why are you gonna guess? Like,
sorry.
Why do people always gotta guess?
I have faith in you.
I'm not that far. Okay. Tactix, how far? How far you think,
bro? I don't even know anything about One Piece, bro. I don't know how deep it is. I don't know how.
It's like 1,300 episodes right now.
Well, it ain't 350, you know that. So take your guess from there.
You scared. I said this episode number, and like it froze him to his core. He's like, I don't have to watch that. Right?
I don't want to disrespect the man, yo. Yeah. I know he's deep in the streets when it comes to his anime shit.
No, how far do you think I
am? I'm gonna say what, like 900.
Oh,
it wasn't at 350. As in, like, it was far. It was
yeah, you just like tripled the number.
You thought I was going too low?
That's where that's where I thought you went too low, and then like.
Tactix, you know when you watch those videos where like someone's putting a math problem on somebody and they're like they're not getting it right and they're like really far off? You just like triple the number. It's like, oh no, you mean like this 45,000. You're like, how do you go from 24 to 45,000? No. Fine, I'll just say at this point, I'm 330. I'll be heading.
No, I was close.
You were close. I was just mad that you.
And I was not.
Yeah. No. Umar, I was just mad because I wanted to like put a number out there that sounded more impressive than what you said. Then you just upped my number. So no. But yeah, I'm 330 in right now. Man, the last arc was insane. It was like 275 to like 325 or something like that, or 264 to 325. Like, it was like 70 episodes, and it was like one arc, one story. It was so good. Got so good at the end.
Guys, everyone who's listening, Darcy is like 330 of One Piece. He's got 1,000 more episodes to go. He started this like 3 months ago?
About that, probably maybe 4 months
Yeah,
ago.
okay, like Darcy, you getting anime cred, street cred, like nah, man, no, like I'm waiting until I retire to watch this series because clearly I can't do it. T is going to watch it in heaven, maybe.
or when we can just download it to our brains. You know that's
Like the
coming.
Matrix.
Yeah, but you can watch it all in one shot.
This is like, I'm like, I know Kung Fu. He's like, I watched all One Piece.
How long can it take you? 45 seconds.
I was like, fuckers.
Nah, I'm appreciating like this because for me, like I said before, this is like when people watch Seinfeld or Friends, right? Like it's just like a thing I'm always watching, and so it's there and it's consistent, and I don't have to worry that like when I don't have something else to watch, it's this. But it's come to the point where I'm like, I watch this before everything else, unless it's like My Hero Academia on a Saturday. Then I'm like, all right, My Hero Academia, and then right back into One Piece. I just need friends to talk about with this. I got no one to talk about with this.
you gotta start branching out to Shweebs, man.
Yeah, I know, but I got that kind of time.
Watch Andor, and then I can talk to you about it. What?
What the fuck is that?
People who watch anime enthusiasts. Let's just call that that.
Got you.
Okay. Moving to our next topic. So in the previous podcast, Darcy and Tactix had reviewed the latest Avatar: The Way of Water film. I hadn't watched it at the time, but I have now watched it. So I'm going to give my quick review, which will be fully spoilered. So I will say that I was not really enthused to watch this film. I will also say that when I heard Darcy and Tactix giving it a 10, I was like, oh shit, I better go watch this. So my buddy took me to see it on Christmas in the IMAX. So I watched it in IMAX. And he also, he enjoyed it, but he didn't give it as high as you guys. So watching it, I will say that I give it an 8 out of 10. When I first came out, I originally said 8.5, but then as I thought more about it, it became 8. But like now that I've like had more time to simmer, I'm gonna still say 8. I enjoyed it. Like it's not a bad film. It is something that you can enjoy. I also found that in terms of our conversation about the controversy about it, it was awkward for me. About like halfway through the movie, I started to feel uncomfortable about the cultural appropriation. However, me watching interviews with James Cameron and also like him talking about how he's like researched and also like gotten approval and all and stuff from like certain tribes, has made me feel better about the cultural appropriation. But like he may have missed somebody, or some people just feel that the conversation needs to be had. I'm like, we had the conversation. I was happy with our conversation. In terms of the story, I agree with both of you. The story was simple, but to be honest, the fact that it took so long for a sequel, I kind of wanted a little bit more.
Called it. Called it.
It was so sci-fi cliche. Now, I do understand that I live and breathe sci-fi, while you guys are like, well, Darcy, you're a fair experienced member of sci-fi, so I'm not gonna put that. But like T, we all know that you like wave at sci-fi. You're just like, hey, it's nice to meet you, once or twice a year. But like I'm married to sci-fi, so like you just don't like my wife. That's essentially what's happening right now. But
wow. That got disrespectful to a person that doesn't exist. I felt like we did something wrong.
I feel immense guilt now for some reason.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever you say you don't like, when you like did not enjoy Dune, it hurt me a little bit. I was like, oh.
I knew that was gonna sting you a little bit, bro. I'm sorry.
But now you get why
I just kept it real, bro. I just kept it real.
I know.
Your wife's a little fat. What can I say?
But
she's a straight up bitch.
Wow. It still feels very wrong to say in here. Like, just.
But okay, so aside from that, I did find certain things to be illogical about the film. Like why didn't the you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna get into it. All I'm gonna say is like I expected a little bit more, but I believe that came from you guys because you guys gave a 10 out of 10. So I'm like, okay, this is like at least if nothing else, it's gonna be spiritual. Also, I kept thinking, I'm like, yo, Jake Sully's gonna be an asshole in this movie. I'm watching it, I'm like, Jake Sully's just a brown dad, a little bit. So I was kind of a little surprised that Tactix you felt that he was like going like out there. I'm like, nah, it makes sense. I was a little
One quick thing. It's interesting you say brown dad because he was a very typical white dad, which is interesting that you just drew like a weird, interesting, surprising correlation there.
Basically a father who's like too hard on himself. For me, when I was growing up, I just saw that as like brown parents because like from my perspective, white parents were like very liberal with their children. I'm just like, wait, you guys can go and sleep over?
Yeah, but I mean,
you guys don't have a curfew?
It reminded me of his portrayal. Reminded me of like the sports father in a difficult situation where things aren't going well. Like, and I don't mean that like in like what I've seen, but I mean like take the sports father from a movie,
yeah,
and yet like and they lost their job and they're moving across the states. Like that's kind of like the portrayal that I got from him.
I see it. I also found that I was kind of okay. So I called. Spoiler warnings. We're like going to full. I called that the eldest son was going to die like halfway through the film. I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to die. Like they're setting up the second son to like take over. This sounds bad. I was kind of hoping the second son would die because like I kind of wanted that to be like a little bit more risk taking in terms of like a narrative because like that way the other characters who are clearly all affected by the death of like one of the more prominent members of the family that we've been seeing, like it would have an absolute impact. The only time I actually like felt any kind of emotion about this is when Zoe Saldana was like, "I'm gonna kill everybody." I'm like, "Yeah, kill them all, girl. You kill those people." Also, she is a badass still.
That fight, oof.
Like she used a bow and arrow and took down a copter.
I mean, she's been doing that since the first film for sure.
No, I know, but she's making sport of it now.
Question for you, Umar, before we move off, because we gotta stay on Zoe Saldana's character for 1 second here.
Yeah.
How did you feel when she went from losing her son and Jake Sully come up to her and be like, "I need you to focus. I know it's hard. I need you right now." And she did that turn. How did you feel in that moment, bro?
That's the part that I'm talking about. Like that is when I'm like, I'm all in with this woman. Like, yeah, let's go. Like, I feel your pain. Let's go kill some people. And like when she had Spider at knife throat, I'm like, I mean, Spider, bye, man.
She go squash a bug.
Yes, he was like this big on her. I'm like, when he hit from her, I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of there. Like, just like back it up. But yeah, like it was enjoyable. I enjoyed having Sigourney Weaver as a 16-year-old. Because like when she was like talking, I'm like, that sounds like Sigourney Weaver. Did Sigourney Weaver do her like 16-year-old self? And then I found out that it was her, so that was cute. The visuals were breathtaking. Now I also watched it at 2 in the morning. Like it finished at like 2:30 in the morning for me. So unlike you guys, I definitely felt the length of that film, but it was not the film's fault. That was definitely like myself being like, yo, I should have taken a nap. I will say the visuals were amazing. Only the underwater stuff. In IMAX, the flying like through the air looked weird. So like the technology isn't 100% there. It's almost there, but it's not quite there yet. So James Cameron, like he clearly has tunnel vision. He clearly wants to like he's trying to doing like literal world building as opposed to character like style. But like I did like the other tribe. it was enjoyable. I just felt that it wasn't particularly original. It was fairly by the numbers. So that was a little disappointing for me. And speaking of by the numbers, we'll just transition to the next portion of this topic. The news about Avatar 3 has me like, it actually reminds me of something Tactix said in a previous podcast where he was like, the shape of water, sorry, the way of water. Is the next one going to be like the Fire Nation, referencing Avatar: The Last Airbender? Well, T, apparently you're a prophet because the next movie is going to be like some sort of fire-based thing where they meet the Fire Nation of the Na'vi, who apparently aren't the good guys. Like they are apparently the bad guys. So what will happen when the Fire Nation attacks? Hello? Oh, okay.
I'm just like, I just didn't realize there was 5. I thought they were only going to 4. Now we're going to 5.
We're going to 5.
Damn. So like, we're really going earth, water, fire, wind, and then tree. The fifth one.
I don't know, man. Look, metal maybe. But whatever the situation is, this just proves my point. Reinforces my feeling that James Cameron's not really going original. He's an entertainer, hands down. He knows how to entertain. No, this isn't a bad film. I enjoyed this film. Wouldn't say I'll watch it again, just like I wouldn't say I watched the first one again after like all these years. But they're enjoyable and they're worth watching in theaters. So I'm going to watch the other ones for sure. But like, I'm not like into this movie. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. That was fun. All right, carry on. So that's how I feel anyway. How about you guys? Like, based on my review, also what you know about like the upcoming film that I just described to you, how are you guys feeling about all this? And has this affected anything in terms of like your point of view? T, let's start with you,
man. How do I feel about the upcoming sequels?
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the same boat as you. I really enjoyed Avatar. I still stand strongly by my 10 rating because it gave me it met my expectations. I didn't have high expectations for it, and I left having a really good time with it. And
Yeah.
am I like eagerly anticipating like a third, fourth, and fifth film? Not really. I feel like my expectation levels pretty much the same as it was going into this film.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe my expectations are slightly higher. And considering that I don't have to wait 10 plus years for the next ones to come out is also good because at least a lot of this content stays fresh in my mind. But yeah, like I mean, okay, so yeah, the whole thing about like originality. I mean, not what's really original nowadays. I think almost every movie pulls some sort of inspiration or finds inspiration in other films, right? I mean, this is I admit this is a little on the nose considering that it's Avatar pulling from Avatar, right? But yeah, I mean, it takes it in a different spin, so to speak. I mean, it's not so like you don't see people bending fire and water and air per se and whatnot in this, but like I guess the core concept is still kind of reminiscent of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the story. We did have a Free Willy, like, and that's the thing when like. It's been a long time since I've seen a movie where it's like, oh, that's like really original. Like every movie pulls from something. You're never going to. I don't think you're ever going to really find, or it's going to be rare that you find a movie where you're like, wow, I've never seen a movie quite like this before, right? But
sorry for my interruption. I just want to ask: is that why Demon Slayer season 2 was such a big thing for you? Because you felt that was original?
I guess I don't know if I would go as far as saying original, but
Okay.
what the difference there in terms of what really captivated me was that, and I think Darcy had mentioned this a long time ago, in relation to something else, but there were it felt, you really felt the stakes involved in Demon Slayer. I actually thought like the boar guy. I forgot, you know how I am with names, but the guy who wears the thing on his yeah, I legit thought that that was gonna be it for him. Like he was actually dead, and they were gonna carry on the series without him. Like that was his final demise. Like I felt that, and I was like, oh shit, they actually killed him off. And then of course, they they made it where it was like he's actually not dead. I forget what the reason was, but it was a pretty cool explanation as to why he survived. Um, but then the main guy and like everyone just seemed to be like getting like clipped off, and I was like, holy, like what's happening right now? And then part of my mind, I was like, I hope this is not a dream sequence or some like corny shit like that. And it ended up not being that. So that that was really well done in my opinion, because it kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. And like not
Okay.
many, I can't think off the top of my head many shows or movies that have done that. You know what I mean? Where you're so invested in a character, especially TV. Like with movie, it's a little bit different. But with like a TV series, you have a lot more time with the character, right? So you've created this, you've established a bond or connection with these characters so much so that like when they get killed off, you're like it hits really close to home for you in a way where you're like, where it's almost like you just killed a family member of mine, or like, well, maybe not that,
Yeah.
it's not that deep, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's like you
Yeah.
like you're so invested in that character that you hate to see them go. And like I think Darcy brought this up in terms of like, I know a big show that he used to like to watch. I don't know if he still watches. I don't even know if it's show's still on, but Grey's Anatomy, where like he'll talk to me about it and be like, "Yo, they just killed this character off or whatever." I don't watch the show, but like I see how like impacted he is by that when like he talks about like a character that they just killed off that you never would have anticipated them killing off, and then when they do, you're like, "Oh shit!" That, and it hits. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, Demon Slayer was kind of like that for me, where it was like there was real stakes involved. Like certain shows, you're like, I know this character is gonna make it out okay, and so it's like even when like they're in a dire situation, it doesn't hit the same way because I'm anticipating them getting out of this, and that's why kind of like with what we were talking about with My Hero Academia, like if you put Deku in that situation, and they have on numerous occasions, but I'm like, one in the intro, he's like, "Here's how I became the greatest superhero." So I know he's gonna be okay. So you know what I mean? It's like it kind of takes that element out of it for me.
Did you feel stakes in this film?
In what, in
Avatar
Avatar?
2?
Um, the thing is, so I know you said you anticipated, or you yeah, you anticipated that the older brother was going to die.
Yeah.
Um, I was a little caught off guard by it, but I can understand how you would have, why how you easily would have came to the
Seen it
conclusion
coming.
that the son was, yeah, that you saw it coming. For me, I kind of disagree in the sense that like the older brother, they never really fleshed his character out a whole lot. We spent more time with the younger brother. So to kill him off to set up for the older brother, to me would have just been like, well, I don't care about this character. So, you know what I mean? Like, and I guess you can see it both ways where it's like, I don't care about this character, so it's okay that he died, right? But at the same time, it's like if you kill off the character that we've spent majority of the film being invested in, and then you kill him off so that it can make room for the older character, it's going to be like, well, I don't really know this guy, so like, how you like, and I'm still grieving the loss of the character that you forced me to connect with. So yeah, it's like jumping from one relationship to another and expecting it to be on the same level when it's not, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
um I felt the way that they did it was great. It would have been much better if they built both the characters up kind of like
Yeah.
simultaneously or on like
I agree.
equal playing fields. So that way that when you kill one of them off, it's kind of like, well, it could be anyone's game at that point. Any one of them could die and it would still have that same emotional impact. Right. So I think
Yeah.
that's where James Cameron kind of dropped the ball in that regard. But I felt like it was still the right play because he did set up that that situation where the last thing that the younger brother says to his older brother is, "You're not my brother." Meanwhile, he's out here kicking it with the Free Willy whale. You know what I mean? And so it's like calling him brother and shit, right? And it's just like, damn, man, like that's like you saying like, "Yo, you're not my best friend," and you got a dog, and you're like, "Yo, my dog's my best friend," and I'm like, okay, I know dogs are man's best friend, but yo, that's kind of cold, bro. What the fuck, like? So
Well,
yeah.
one thing y'all motherfuckers need to know: if I have a dog, that shit is my motherfucking best friend. Okay? That is my closest nigga right there. Okay, that's all I gotta say. I've had a dog before. I know how deep those bonds go. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, yo, you can't talk anime with your dog though, bro. I mean, you can talk to him, but he ain't talking back.
Yeah.
We can live out anime. Trust. That dog can do stuff. Okay. Oh man, I used to go hunting with my dog. It was a good time. But he hunt, I just watch. But yeah.
Darcy, do you want to jump in?
Sure. I'm trying to remember all the different like main points that we to jump in on. One thing I want to say.
Yeah, okay, go on.
Well, one thing I want to say, Umar, I think that really is unfortunate for you in this situation is that I think your watching of this film was tainted, and not to your volition, but like, we had the benefit of like, you probably have a whole point that you lost because you went in thinking about too many things, more than you normally would, because you're always thinking about too many things when you watch a film. So like, you're waiting for that to happen versus like you might have saw it and you'd be like, well, that was basic, Aboriginal stuff. Okay, they didn't do much depth there, but you would have equated it likely to the same level of like the story is basic, so I understand, right? So that's one thing I say about that. Overall, what was the other points that you guys went over? I forget right now.
We talked about the next movie, kind of like following the fire people.
Yeah. So for the concept of Avatar copying from Avatar, it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother me because I think it's more good than it is bad, and so, like, I don't watch these films going in for unbelievably original story because I've known even from the first film that wasn't the point. The point of it was, and I like this about what James Cameron's doing, and I think that's why most people like it, is the literal world building that you said that he's doing. I think that's what people enjoy most about it. It's the exploration of another planet, but not in a like, ooh, here's a cool planet. Let me just stop for 2 minutes and I'll be out. Like it's like, let's immerse ourselves very deeply in it. And yes, we'll have these palatable conversations about, how we treat people and all that kind of stuff and how we treat the planet. And yeah, they're basic, but they're there and they do people think, but it's very much just like this deep exploration of this world and respecting your world and hopefully making people think and feel about that a little bit. And so yeah, it's enjoyable. On the other point, I'm also glad that we're not gonna have to wait another 13 years, like Tactix was saying. I did the math. I'll be 76 or somewhere around there. If every film is 13 years apart, and James Cameron will literally be dust. So I'm glad we don't have to do that. And I feel like based on the man's age, we definitely need to get these in just like in succession. Can't be having no gaps no more. But yeah, I don't know. Like the other thing I kind of hope from this, because I think this will happen, but I hope the community doesn't shoot themselves in the foot too much. Clearly, the Avatar Last Airbender community, there's gonna be uproar around how similar these things are.
Well, also because of the fact that James Cameron made such a big deal about it. Because like when Avatar like the series came out, when the movie came out, but like that should have been called Avatar: The Last Airbender, or it just should not have happened. But like James Cameron have fought tooth and nail to kind of keep Avatar his own thing. and everyone was like, dude, like seriously, like what the f? And now he's kind of like, it's like he's taking so long to get the story out, and it's like is kind of going along the same process. It's kind of like, well, you weren't the first one, so don't act like this is something that was stolen from you, because that's how he was like. Again, this is like 10 years ago, but he was acting as if like Avatar: The Last Airbender was like ripping off his idea, and it's kind of like,
If I remember correctly, I was reading about something from the writers of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they had articulated something like they were about to drop the show, but the movie came out, and then they had the name piece, which means that they both basically made their properties at the same time, and it just happened to be very ironically similar. Well, now I think he's ripping it more, but the point more I'm getting at is like as much as you can get very up in arms and be very negative about it, you can also just highlight, like, if I feel like it's smarter for people to put out TikToks about like more sarcastically but not angrily how similar they are, right?
yeah,
And make jokes about it, because there's lots
I
of
agree.
people who would be like, what is this other thing? And then go watch it, right? Like, when people do those, like, this scene from The Mermaid is like identical to this other new movie that just came out, and you're like, you're like, or like the ripping, or like the new Lord of the Rings show is like identical to this other like Disney thing, like it was like Shrek or something, and they show all these like scenes that are like the same, and it's funny, and right? And imagine if you had never seen Shrek and you just watched Lord of the Rings, like the new show, and you're like laughing, and you want to see what the Shrek thing is, right? I feel like it could be a gateway to more like Last Airbender fans, right? But if you make it super negative, then you're gonna be like, oh, I think weebs are dumb and stuff and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's just more ignoring it. So I think there's more good than bad to come out of it if people don't just get their heads up their asses too much.
Personally, I love it when someone's like, "Oh man, I love Avatar, Last Airbender, not blue people." Like when people say stuff like that, it just makes me chuckle.
Yeah. So
All right, moving on. So we are going to now enter in our geeky news phase, and our first bit of geeky news is a bit of a sad one, but more of a fucked up one. So our one of the original members of the Avengers, actor Jeremy Renner, had some shit happen to him this past week. He was helping someone whose car, I think, got stuck in snow. So he was like helping to dig it out, and got trampled by a snow plow. It was pretty bad. He's currently in hospital recovering. That's also pretty bad. But like the only reason he survived is because his neighbor, who's a doctor, saw it happen, immediately rushed out and like started performing like life-saving. Oh yeah, this one hurt. Life-saving procedures, and also called 911, and then they were able to get him, airlift him, bring him to the hospital, do surgery. He's stable. He's like, I don't know anything about him making a full recovery, but like his legs were, from what I hear, his legs and torso were pretty banged up, if not tore up. But he I think like his family made a video of them like doing like a spa day in his hospital, and he was just kind of like, hey guys. So like, poor guy, like, damn. I mean, like, this is one of those examples of no good deed goes unpunished, but damn. How did you guys hear about this news, by the way? Was it me?
Yeah, I think I might. I think one of you guys put it in the chat, and
Yeah,
that's how I heard about it. Yeah.
but yeah, wishing him the best of recovery. How do you guys feel? Like, what are your thoughts on the story, Darce? We'll start with you.
yeah, I mean, a couple other like details that I'm aware of.
Shoot.
So one, the snowplow is his own snowplow that he owns, and he was using it to try to get people or get that individual out because there was a bunch of snow on New Year's Day.
Wait, he
And
got
then
trampled by his own snowplow?
yeah, so there's supposed to
Yeah.
be a safety mechanism that's supposed to stop it from like rolling. But what ended up
Jesus.
happening is that while he was out of the snowplow help assisting something with the person or try to get them out of their car or something. It started rolling, so he went to get back in the driver's seat, and that's when he got trampled by it. There was the reported
Fuck.
chest injuries and shredding of his leg. I don't know what that was obviously a light description, so it's not clear. The
Yeah.
treads on the tractor side of that thing are deep. Like they look like they're like 8,
Yeah.
10 inches deep. So I wouldn't be surprised if like his like got caught in that and got pulled in some kind of way. But yeah, it's technically an ongoing investigation, I think, still at this point as a potential criminal issue, in that it is, since the tractor was not operating the way it's supposed to, then clearly like there's going to be, if that safety mechanism didn't work and it happened to a celebrity, you know that
Yeah.
they gonna have to figure something out as to like that's gonna hurt their company. So yeah, there's some stuff there to still be figured out. I mean, I'm just hoping for all the best here, that you know, after the couple surgeries he went through, that you know, he's gonna make a good recovery.
Yeah.
That he will obviously he's gonna have a ton of rehabilitation to do, but I'm hoping that, you know, he's able to regain enough that it doesn't limit him in any dramatic way. Whether that means like he's done with doing his own stunts or anything action oriented that requires any small level of stunts, and he, you know, maybe moves on to a different portion of a different perspective in his career. You know, even like Hemsworth, like, you know, having his own realization and wanting to
Yeah.
move in a different direction. I won't be surprised if events like this make you go, you know what, I want to do these kinds of films now. Like, I really just want to focus over here.
Yeah.
And Avengers ain't his thing. I respect it, you know, like whatever he wants to do. But I just hope he's not limited in any dramatic way. That his leg is not in a situation where, you know, that prohibits a lot of his acting. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm hoping for the best for him. But it looks like he's starting at a good place so far, that he's you know, not worse, and we weren't able to get like updates from him, so I'm glad to see those updates. That's big.
T.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what the two of you guys said, yeah, I'm wishing him a speedy and healthy recovery. This could have been a lot worse, so thankfully, you know, he was able to make it out of there. And obviously we don't know like the details of how badly he was injured, but hopefully he's got the best surgeons available at his disposal to help assist him in getting back into tip top shape. He, based on his Instagram post, he seems to be in good spirits despite what he's gone through. So that's at least a good sign. So hopefully, like Darcy said, that he can return back to normal, and that doesn't inhibit him and his ability to act. This might require him to pivot a little bit in terms of some of the roles that he might be looking into, but I mean, at least he has his health and his life intact. So yeah, wishing him a speedy recovery.
All right. Well, moving on to our next topic. So I was sent a link for an image for upcoming Geeky Films coming up in 2023, and I sent it to my bros to kind of like have them check it out. And I'm going to ask, and I'll go first to give you guys a little bit of extra time, but I'm going to ask, what are your top 5 films that you're most excited for this year out of this list? So I'll go first, so I'll give you guys a couple seconds. I will say that Ant-Man definitely is. This is in no particular. I'm just going to go in order of like what I'm seeing. So Ant-Man, Quantumania is one. Creed 3 is another one. I'm gonna say Spider-Man, like Spider-Verse, and Elemental and the Marvels. Those are my 5 that I'm out of this entire list that I'm most excited to see. I'm probably gonna end up seeing most of them, if not all of them. Oh shit, no, fuck! I'm gonna take away Elemental and add in Dune. I forgot Dune was on there because it looks like it's very like small. But like, yeah, so it's going to be Quantumania, Creed 3, Into the Spider-Verse, The Marvels, and Dune Part 2 for me personally. Darcy, let's go with you, man.
I was hoping you weren't going to go to me right away.
Tactix. Let's go with you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna go John Wick.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go Spider-Man.
nice.
I'm gonna go Creed 3. I'm gonna go The Flash.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yo, bro, come on. Michael Keaton.
Keaton?
That's the
Yeah.
only reason I'm watching it. Let's be honest.
Yo, if he's in it for like 5 seconds, you're gonna be so
I'll
mad.
be so pissed. I kind of feel like he's only going to be in it for 5 minutes, to be honest.
I know.
You know,
I know.
yeah.
I'm scared. I'm really scared.
And then my last one, I'm gonna go Ant-Man.
Okay. Darcy.
All right. Starting at 5, we're gonna go Barbie.
That's it. My man. Don't be telling me you're not joking.
No, that's cat, bro. That's
4 is Wonka. Okay.
Yo, that's cat.
3 is Scream. Okay.
Wait. Wonka?
No, Umar, hold up. 3 is Scream. Okay. 2 is The Little Mermaid.
For his least favorite.
And one is Fast X.
Which one of those are true?
None of this. Like the top 5 he doesn't want to watch.
Yeah. Oh, I was like dying over here. I was trying to write down my actual 5 while at the same time trying to process a list of shit I didn't like. It was a whole.
How is Craven not on there?
I'm more interested in Craven than Fast X by a long mile.
Wow. I'm more into like I actually want to see Barbie. It looks cool. I will never watch Craven.
I am not interested in Barbie at this point. I could be turned. I'm not interested in Little Mermaid, but I could see myself going because of a couple like little girls in our family. I'm gonna probably stay away from Fast X as best as possible, but I could see how I might end up getting dragged into it by accident. You know, kids and stuff like that. We got kids in our lives, okay? They like dumb things, and we end up there. I like popcorn. But anyways, my actual list of 5. I'll go from 5 up. Okay, starting strong at 5, John Wick. Okay. 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I'm not surprised.
3, Quantumania.
Oh, I thought it would be 2. Never mind. Okay.
2 is Creed 3.
I thought it was going to be 1.
And number 1 is Spider-Man. Because
Okay.
Spider-Man is that original, the first one,
okay, so we were talking about unoriginal films. That was original. Like that one subverted all my expectations of what was going to happen.
Yeah, I want to say like I'm gonna make a comparison going back to something else we talk about, where James Gunn has pushed the like twice, but he's pushed like where graphics go with Avatar. Did I say? Oh yeah, I said. Sorry, I surprised I got James Gunn out of that. James Cameron, right? He pushed the level there. Yeah. Actually, Spider-Man did that in a whole different way, while at the same time, just doing, I want to say, what animated like what the good DC animated movies do, which is it told a solid story, like the best DC animated stories do, because it felt kind of similar but longer, but then just did stuff that like nobody else has ever done.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh.
What's the movie on the left?
That's like a chickens movie.
There's a chickens movie coming up next year.
Run.
Oh, I missed that. I like Chicken Runs, but not enough to like put it anywhere on my list.
But still, like okay, so audience members, for those of you who saw the list, like press pause and like be sure to comment in the comment section which movies you're looking forward to watching. And moving on to our next topic is going to be about a film that I have mixed feelings about. So I saw a trailer for the movie Knock at the Cabin. It stars Dave Bautista and what's his name? Jonathan Groff, I believe. And also Rupert Grint, aka Ron Weasley. Anyway, so it is a psychological thriller, I'm assuming, or like a psychological horror film. Nonetheless, I personally love this trailer, and you guys know me, I'm not a big fan of horror movies. So like I was like, yo, this is dope. I was enjoying the trailer so thoroughly up until the name of the director showed up at the very end. M. Night Shyamalan. At which point, I went from oh to oh. I am going to wait for reviews before I even consider watching this film. But I was thoroughly disappointed by the director, but surprisingly really into everything else about like the trailer. And I wanted to know what my bros thought. So T, let's start with you this time. What did you think of Knock at the Cabin trailer?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. As soon as I saw that M. Night Shyamalan, I was like, ah, damn, here we go again. The, the, the thing with him is like he's got some really good ideas, and some of the stuff is original. Like if we're talking about like we were talking about before, like he's who I would say is like he's got original ideas. Like some of his concepts that he conjures up are interesting. It's just the execution is poorly done with all of his movies. Well, a majority of his movies, right?
Yeah.
He's had some solid wins like Sixth Sense. I liked Split. Unbreakable was really good. And what was the other one that I saw recently that I think it's a Life. Life was another one. It had potential, but again, one of those ones that is really poorly executed. And like that's the thing. Whoever's cutting these trailers for M. Night Shyamalan knows what the fuck they're doing because they know how to like reel you in to some bullshit. And that's the problem with these movies, right? Because like this trailer is really good. It's really interesting. And we keep getting suckered into this stupid shit. Like every
And
time
Dave
I sit down and I
Bautista, like
watch this movie,
he's holding it down.
and that's the thing too. We've been talking about Dave Bautista for a while, and like how much of an improvement he's made acting wise, performance wise over the last little while, right? And so, you know, just on that alone, for his sake, I really do want this movie to do well. I really want this to be another banger.
Yeah.
Because that'll just propel Dave Bautista's career even further. And it'll show that he can branch off and do other things outside of the MCU, and he's not just like some like dumb jock type of character or actor kind of thing, right? So yeah,
Now that you
I
brought
like
it up,
I'll
like
still watch it, but I'm hoping that
really,
it's good. But I have low expectations.
yeah, about your Dave Bautista comment, like I know people have been discussing him, The Rock, and John Cena in terms of wrestlers turned actors. And me
Mhm.
personally, I find that like I'm Dave Bautista is number one, John Cena is number two, but it's like a close second. And like The Rock is like like I don't feel he should even be on the list because he's not really an actor; he's an entertainer. But like Dave Bautista, like from Blade Runner, Dune, and also like the small moments he had here and there in Guardians of the Galaxy, and also I really liked him in Glass Onion, the recent Ryan Johnson film. Uh, he's got the chops. So like I'm with you, T. I hope this is a feather in his cap.
Mm-hmm.
Darcy, how about you, man?
Looks interesting. I like the I forget what I remember her from, but the lady on the far right in the yellow shirt. She's off for
Get Out?
something. No, maybe Maybe she's the
No,
mother
it's
in Get Out. No.
no.
I
I
feel like
know
something in
I know
BBC though.
It's not her. I know who you're
Oh,
referring
okay.
to.
I thought it was
I-
the.
It
Yeah.
kind of looks like her, but yeah, it's not. I don't think it's her.
I thought she was on Luther, but I was just looking it up and it didn't. She didn't show up. At least I didn't see on her call sheet on IMDb like she was on Luther. But anyway,
Yeah.
she reminds me from something. Anyways, we got a strong cast. You know, I'm hearing that this is off of an amazing book from called like Cabin at the End of the World or something like that.
Mhm.
And apparently it's got amazing writing, amazing twists. And even this trailer is being noted as being like, it looks like it's a direct adaptation. It's not like inspired by, it is like a 1-for-1, like somebody who knows that book on another like, you know, YouTube show I was watching.
Okay.
He was saying, he's like, I didn't even know what this was because it's named differently, and I saw it and I immediately knew that like, oh, this is Cabin at the End of the World. Dave Bautista is a perfect casting apparently. And you know, the thing I feel about this film is that it's going to be like when you watch a TikTok of somebody making food and they're like, oh yeah, we got this steak and we going to dress it this way. We're going to bring out this thing here. We're going to pair it with that. And it's really, really good. And at the end, the motherfucker just drops on like some stupid ass thing, like Cheerios with ketchup. And you're like, what the hell? Where did this go left so hard out of nowhere? Because that's what M. Night Shyamalan does. He makes phenomenal films that end wrong. Like the execution is so good until it's not anymore. Like it's just like I was telling before the podcast, I'm still upset about The Visit. Because it's like, how did I go from being so creeped out and had such a good, like, oh, the twist is so good. Oh, it blew me away. And then had the dumbest thing where the woman's crawling across the ceiling. It makes no absolute sense. It's like not humanly possible, and took me completely out of the film to the point that I was laughing and making jokes about it in the theater because I was just so far gone. So yeah, it's just, I feel this movie's gonna be like amazing until the climax, and then completely sour the whole damn thing. And that's what he does.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping this is him returning to like the Sixth Sense level or like Unbreakable, but like I hear you, Darcy. Like I think literally everyone is just saying, but why? Why him?
Just
So
like if I can give one piece of advice for M. Night while you still have time to edit this damn thing, if you just end it in the obvious way, we'd be better off than your original idea at the very end that just shits the bed.
yeah, and like the weird thing is that the actors are killing it in the trailer. Like when me and my buddy Jimmy watched it, Jimmy and I started thinking like, hey, if we were in this situation, how would we convince this family to like kill off a member of its family, just so like they would save the world? But then we saw M. Night Shyamalan, and it was like, oh fuck. Okay.
Yeah. Is this gonna be like? And I haven't read the book, so it could be interesting twist. Is it like? Because it brought up an interesting question in my head. Is it really the apocalypse, or is it just a bunch of serial killers who, like, you know, like a grotesque group of people who? I was thinking of what's the show on Netflix that came out recently and that got canceled? That was really big about the Dreamer. Sandman, yeah. So remember the oh, I thought it got canceled. Everything on Netflix is getting canceled. Everything on Netflix is getting canceled, Umar. Just it's confusing, okay? It's like broke records canceled. Like that's exactly Netflix's announcements right now.
Wednesday got canceled too.
Exactly my point. So it's like best show ever canceled. You remember the episode where they had all the killers come together, right? And
he hasn't seen that yet.
Well, I didn't spoil anything. I'm not gonna really get into the episode, okay. But like there's a thing with a bunch of killers that come together, and there's like they're all like, you know, sadistic, and they all have their killing pleasure, right? And for some reason, maybe because I've seen Sandman, it popped in my head this thought that like, what if all these people just like to kill? Because they're all different. They don't look like they're related at all. It's like, what if they just like to kill, and this is what they're trying to convince somebody? And what if the film is so good at convincing these people, but it's not a real thing? right? Like you're constantly posing that question as you're watching it. Is there really an apocalypse or not? And if you can get pulled deeply enough into that question and the audience can't answer it until the climax, it could be phenomenal. Of course, I know he's gonna screw it up. Like I feel the hype right now, and I know I'm gonna be let down.
I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. All right. Moving on to our next topic is going to be discussions about the rumors we've been hearing about the fourth Captain America movie. So Captain America, called New World Order, is going to be focusing on Sam Wilson as Captain America. It's going to have Harrison Ford basically taking over the role of Thaddeus, President Thaddeus Ross, who is going to be the main villain, who also will be potentially, well, no, not potentially, we've talked about that he's going to be Red Hulk. And also we know that like a whole bunch of other people are going to be showing up. I think there's even talk of like a Wakanda like surfacing or having some sort of cameo. We're also going to be having Valentina for sure going to be showing up, and also the leader that we haven't seen since the Incredible Hulk way back when. But also there have been rumors that finally, the MCU will address the fact that the Earth has a head and a hand popping out the side of it, like popping on the side of it. Tiamat, who's like a dead, celestial, whose head is like, how about with his hand going out like this? They're going to talk about it. Yes, that perfectly. So that is finally going to be addressed in this film, because, and this is again a rumor, but the rumor is that the frozen form is made up of adamantium. For those of you who don't know, adamantium is the metal that coats Wolverine from the X-Men's claws. So it is
in his whole skeleton too.
Yeah, basically all his bones. So it is possible that Tiamat will usher in. Actually, if Tiamat is going to be the source of adamantium, that's a lot of adamantium. Like, it's supposed to be a rare metal in the X-Men comics, and I mean, like, Tiamat's a skyscraper.
He's more than that. Yeah, it's a lot of adamantium. But
that's a lot of.
It's a very interesting way to introduce that, like in a very realistic way. And I mean, we all want Wolverine, so we're interested. However, I don't feel like we'll just get Wolverine. I think it'll just be like the race. It's like the race to vibranium, and then the race to vibranium is what's in Wakanda. So I feel like it's like, oh, that would make sense for Wakanda, because now you have the thing that beats with vibranium. So it's the West versus Wakanda. So that's why Wakanda would show up. And then you have, oh my gosh, now you have a black Captain America in the middle of the West's agenda, and Wakanda. Okay, this is getting interesting.
You just took everything I was going to bring up. Like, I had note, but like you said it all. So like,
sorry.
We now know how Darcy feels about all this.
It just started coming to me all at once. I couldn't slow myself down. I didn't want
to, because I was like, no. He's saying everything I want to say, so I'll just let him say it, because he's like working it out, and I love it. So like, good for you, bro. How about you continue? What do you think of all that?
Well, now I'm hyped myself into this damn film. Like I am, because I have faith in that, since they spent, like, one of the better parts of Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the dialogue of the treatment of African Americans, right? Through the discussion of the original Captain America, like the black version of him, and there was just like a race dialogue happening. So that intrigues me. If we have, how to put this, the reverse of Killmonger as a portion of dialogue underneath the Falcon's, now the new Captain America's character, in that you have a situation where, like, before, you had Killmonger's like, well, you didn't do nothing to help our people anywhere, right? You ignored everything. Now you have a character who's black, and I feel like there's got to be elements to what's going to happen versus the West with this, like, our arms race between the rest of the world in Wakanda, and him trying to be like a grounded altruist and being in the middle of that, I think, and the fact that he's gonna have some level of identification and yet difference to Wakanda, I think there could be something interesting there if they don't drop the ball on it. But the fact they did this, they had those conversations in the show, gives me hope that there's be like a whole good second bottom layer to this. It's not just a superhero fight, and if they do that, it'll make it a really strong film.
Honestly, like, this film is stacked with like a lot. Like, you've got stuff from Eternals, you got stuff from Captain America, you got stuff from Falcon and Winter Soldier, you got stuff from the X-Men, and you got stuff from Incredible Hulk, all of which is in this. So like I'm getting hyped for this film. T, how about you, man? Like, what do you think so far of hearing all of this?
I don't really have much to add, to be honest. I mean, I'm not as excited as you guys are.
You're
I'm
still
more
angry.
kind of. No, I'm more like I'm sure, like, when I get into the movie and I start watching it, I'll enjoy it. But right now, my anticipation level is kind of like neutral at this point. So
Okay.
like the animanium stuff sounds really cool and interesting, and I feel like they have an opportunity to like, I agree with Darcy. I don't think it's going to be a like a full-fledged introduction to the new Wolverine, but they'll probably end up teasing him in some capacity in a really unique and cool way, which is always awesome, especially if it's like a post-credit scene type of thing. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, yeah, sure, cool, it's coming out.
I love seeing your Marvel fatigue, man. It's starting to tickle me a lot now. You're just like, yeah, all right. Like, Darcy's like, he starts. It's like he like figured out math and like figured out how to like get to the hype level, and you're just like, I ain't gonna. Y'all go ahead of me.
I figured out math. 1 + 1 = window.
More like 1 + 1 = 1 = adamantium.
No, it's just a cool thing. I mean, like, I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that Tiamat is just not going to be ignored anymore, because that, like, how much more of a statement can you make if people just not talk about you?
But
He's
my
like,
buddy was saying, like, the one thing he actually didn't like about Wakanda was the fact that, like, you will have an underwater kingdom, and we're not going to even talk about Tiamat.
yeah. I'm like, I feel like they need to like be like, all this happened just before Tiamat. Like, we never really clearly identified the Eternals timeline. Yeah. That other thing is also that people said about is that the Eternals are actually made of adamantium. Because
I heard that too.
Yeah. So, like, that's interesting. Not that I really care to see them show up back up or anything like that. So
I know I enjoyed it the most out of this group. Okay, so moving on to our next topic about upcoming superhero films. The Flash is back. Like, the movie The Flash has come back into the news big time because it is going to be, as we've seen, going to be dropped this year. But also because due to the constant stream of reactions, news, and announcements from DC and Warner Brothers, it has been reported that Warner Brother execs, and I say Warner Brother execs, not James Gunn, not Peter Safran, who are dealing with DC Studios. Warner Brother execs seem to be reportedly warming up to the idea of keeping Ezra Miller as the Flash going forward in James Gunn's DCU. The reason it was reportedly said so is that the execs are pleased with their, I think, recovery when they decided that they're going to go in for professional help, following all the shit they did. Also, there have been reports of pre-screenings of The Flash, and again, these are Warner Brothers execs saying this, or Warner Brothers people saying this. They are comparing the level of this film to The Dark Knight. I found that to be a rather bold statement, but frankly, given their situation, I can see why they're probably trying to, after Henry Cavill, people would be pissed. I don't feel this is the right way for them to pivot in terms of unpissing them, but here we are. Sorry, man.
I've just never heard the phrase "unpissing" before in my life. I'm just out here just dying. What does that mean? Moving on.
So, given these announcements, I am actually fascinated to hear what my bros have to say about this. So, Darcy, seeing as how I made you crack up with the whole unpissing thing, we might as well get what you think.
There are several thoughts. Okay, let's take the argument that this is Dark Knight level. Okay, let's accept this argument.
Okay.
I still don't want it. I still don't want them to, because here's the thing. Fundamentally, we need to reboot. It's too much of a crazy mess. Let's just say they have done their work. They have come to a place in which they've become a respectable group, individual. Sorry, I'm using plurals, then switching back to singular. That's throwing me off. And yet, and let's say we all end up feeling very different about Ezra, right? Even in that context, which is a very unlikely context, I still don't feel like it makes a lot of sense. Yes, of course, he can flashpoint and all that kind of stuff. But one, it's going to piss everybody off because you're going to fire Henry, but you're going to keep Ezra around.
Exactly.
That's one problem. But the other problem is that if you're trying to create something that's new with a new tone, how are you going to connect these things? Now, I don't have a problem if the way this film is dropping. There's other films that drop after this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Aquaman comes after this, and Shazam comes before this.
Let's make the argument. Let's make the assumption here that Aquaman is affected by the events of this film, right? Okay. There's an interconnection, and let's say that James Gunn uses the way this film works to usher in the new story, right? In some kind of way, he just kind of spins off of it. I still want to be and when we see the Flash next time, it's a new Flash, right? With the new tone and all that kind of stuff. I just don't have a desire to see anything connected to the old DCEU anymore. I just want new. Just move on.
Thank you.
Yeah, as well, I just don't feel like we can, it's too soon, I don't have a problem with this man coming back and being intrigued in other things that he could do, showing that he's rehabilitated himself, because I believe in that rehabilitation. I don't feel like we should cast a person out forever unless they've done something far worse than this guy. But
he was someone.
He did a whole bunch of bad things.
Yeah.
I just mean he didn't.
You believe in second chances?
Yes, I mean he didn't kill anybody on live television that I'm aware of. So I'm just putting a level where
no going back.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get at. So even still, I need more time. That's all I'm saying. So
yeah. Okay. T.
Yeah, I agree with Darcy. I don't think this is actually going to happen. I don't. I feel like maybe the idea was floating around, but I honestly don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on this because, like Darcy said, like you're gonna piss off a lot of people who got fired because of the whole plan to reboot everything. But yet you're gonna keep the guy who was the most problematic out of every one member of the Justice League on just because he's rehabilitated. Like that just doesn't make any sense. And I'm all for second chances, but not like Darcy said, not this soon. And I think there will be too much of an uproar and backlash and a lot of repercussions if they decide to go this route and keep Ezra Miller on board. Um, I think all the movies that have been slated or are already in production and getting ready to drop, they should just drop and then we just start fresh and reboot it. And that's hard for me to say because they finally got my man Michael Keaton involved
I know.
and you know we never got to see him in back we never even got to see Batgirl. So and now the Flash is going to be the last thing that we see him in at least for a while. So yeah, I think if you're going to throw everything out, then throw everything out and start fresh.
Yeah, because like the question becomes, why Ezra Miller if you're going to keep them? Because like Henry Cavill universally, like even I will admit that I believe Henry Cavill can do a very good Superman. Just give him the right script and he can nail it. So if you had that, you're getting, and I agree. Like we've discussed, that James Gunn is like restructuring, fine. But then out of everything, why keep Ezra Miller, who has, as you got, like clearly he maybe he's got something on like WB execs. Like he's like, yo, keep me or I'm going to tell everyone about this.
No, you know what I think it is? And this is me just kind of throwing out a
Cool.
hypothesis, but um if you consider all the other DC movies that have come out, so Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, Aquaman, all of those, Wonder Woman, you know,
Black Adam.
uh, well, well, with the exception of maybe the first Wonder Woman, we all know DC hasn't had a strong track record when it comes to their films, right? They're like no, and if you look at all the DC movies that have come out, no one's comparing it to Dark Knight. No one's comparing Man of Steel to Dark Knight. No one's comparing Shazam or Aquaman to the Dark Knight. This is the first time that we've heard that they're comparing the Flash to that same caliber. So, with that in mind, they're
Batman
probably
v
thinking,
Superman.
I'm sorry, what?
Batman v Superman. Do you remember people were saying that that movie got a standing ovation, and people were saying that like back in the day they were saying that this is going to top The Dark Knight.
I don't remember that, but
That was before the movie came out. That was before the movie came out. No one was saying it afterwards.
yeah. Um yeah, okay, so that's a good point. But what I think is happening though is I think that they're banking on this being their golden ticket, right?
Mm,
Because if people are like if they're screening this around and people are like loving it, and the fact that it has that nostalgia factor of bringing Michael Keaton in, the old school Batman, that's on the level of like No Way Home type of
agreed.
like you know what I mean. So it's like if you're doing that, and then on top of that, people are giving this a standing ovation and comparing it to that of the Dark Knight, you as an executive at WB, if I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, I don't want to throw this away. And if we go ahead and change the actor, then that could be confusing as fuck for people, and people might not be as receptive because maybe Ezra, despite his transgressions and stuff, maybe he did a bang out performance in this, and that's part of the reason why that's why part of the reason why people are praising this movie so much.
Ezra Miller has never proven himself in any of his roles, not just in Justice League. Which I mean,
Yeah, but we haven't seen him in well, I mean, I haven't seen the what's the Harry Potter spinoff. I know
but
he's in
also
that,
before
but
that. Yeah, like he's been in stuff
Yeah, but
before
he
that.
hasn't.
Like I,
But he hasn't been in a lead role like this, where he's a star and he has to carry a film, right? And so that's a lot of pressure on him alone to bring it, and so he has to bring it as the star. He can't, like, it's easy for like him to be a supporting character in a movie and then offload some of the, like in Justice League, for example. Like, it's like we're not there to see the Flash, we're there to see Batman and Superman. You know what I mean? That those are the main characters that we're focusing on, and you can argue Wonder Woman as well. But in terms of Cyborg and like all the other ones, yeah, they were cool characters, but that's not the initial draw. You know what I mean? So as a supporting character, him being the Flash, when he's next to top tier superheroes like Batman and Superman, no one's really giving a fuck about the Flash. But when he's in his own movie and he has to carry his own film, now there's like, okay, there's that level of, all right, now we're forced to watch this guy, so we got to see what he has. And if what we're speculating is true and Michael Keaton's only in the movie for 5 minutes, then that's more pressure on Ezra Miller to perform now, because he's on screen majority of the time and he's playing two characters in the movie.
okay, that's a fair point. Yeah, because like he has been predominantly like he's been either prominent or insignificant supporting
Yeah.
character in all of his films.
Despite that, though, I don't think they're going to go through with this.
I like honestly like he's not a good Flash. Yes, this film could provide provide them an opportunity to prove their worth. But we have had a film of them being the Flash,
Mm-hmm.
and they like actually, so technically speaking, that we've had two films, and they haven't done a good job. So I never liked Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. It wasn't Barry Allen. It was just some sort of like snot nosed kid. Uh, like apparently somehow randomly got a like a science experiment that gave him this ability. Like this isn't Barry Allen, and also the way he runs is dumb as fuck. But I just he's not Barry Allen, and I would like for them to fix that. And this, if they're going to do Flashpoint, this is an easy way to fix it.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, though, you don't, like, neither one of us, like me, you, and Darcy, we don't like this Flash because we know that this isn't Barry Allen. This is not a true representation. But
Yes,
you strip that away, and you're just let's just say you're an average comic book movie watcher, but you don't know fuck all about, like,
fair.
representation in terms of the accuracy of these characters. And you go in and you see Ezra Miller playing this character, being his comical, goofy self and whatnot. That's going to draw in a lot of average like general population, because they're going to be like,
Fair.
oh, he's so funny, that guy was hilarious and he runs fast and he's super cool and he's got these superpowers, yada yada yada, right? So that's the appeal there, right? Like, we're watching this as comic book fans, knowing that this is not an accurate depiction of the character, and that is why we don't like him. But if you look at it from the lens of just general population, they might think otherwise, and in fact, I think they do think otherwise, because I've asked other people that don't really know that there are multiple Flashes, what did you think? And they're like, oh yeah, he was funny, he was hilarious in the movie.
Interesting. So that was going to be my next question to both of you, actually, because like for me, if I were to take out the comic book accuracy out and looking at Ezra Miller, their performance, I would still find it to be wanting, in at least in comparison to everybody else. Like, um, yeah, that's how I felt personally. From like if I'm looking at it just objective, I don't. If I take out the personality aspect, I still find the running to be ridiculous, and I found their comedy to be rudimentary at best. As like just like one-liners, but like that's just me. So Tactix, you've said that people have said that they've really enjoyed
Mm.
Ezra's performance. Darcy, how about you? Like any kind of objective assessment that you can throw out there, or from like outside source?
From my own experience of watching it, I've not enjoyed it nor hated it. I hate the running, by the way. It's like if I wasn't, I was first in line to hating that. I'm just like I was like, who runs like this? Like it looks like the man's tripping or breaking his ankles the whole time. Like it's just like it's like, oh, the arm wrestler king, and he like looks like he's gonna break his arm in every match. It's like, what's this movie about? Like, but I'm not as in tune with Barry Allen outside of the CW, because I realized over time, like I always thought I knew who the Flash was until I realized the Flash that I grew up with was Wally West. Like that's when I first came a grain in my head. So when I watch it, there's like a Wally West-esque aspect to it, but not really Wally West, because to truly be Wally West, you would have to be the like the jokey one that wants to be like the one before you, and you can't be the first one and want to be like the one before you. Like there's a tone there. And then, you know, like I do have like, I guess the best Flash that I can relate to actually comes from Young Justice. And he's definitely not that character. Like it's just very different. But in this world with these characters, I've not been that offended by him not being a true Barry Allen, considering some of the other things that are also not true to our world. But yeah, I mean, I hope the film's good so that we don't have to, like, you know, be super begrudging throughout like the 2-hour span that we're gonna be in there or whatever time frame. But even still, I feel like this is just DC executives like seeing an inkling of potential success and always just trying to shift the trajectory, because it's like, oh, we might make money. Let's follow the money and not follow the story, and let money be the thing that you receive from doing great stuff, right? Like, yeah. I just it reeks of the same thing that they've had before. It's like, okay, we're gonna change direction. Oh, Marvel did something good. Go that way, you know. Oh, there's a potential. Like, we need to reset the whole universe. Oh, this seems good. James Gunn, forget what you're doing. Like, work off of this. This is gonna work. And it's like, this movie's already coming out, and it's like, oh my god, you guys always shift gears every time you get a sniff of a green dollar bill. You're always gonna end up like screwing it over again.
Yeah. Moving on to our last topic, because fuck this Flash. Anyway, so the new trailer for the Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy film called You People came out this past week. Like they did a teaser trailer, and now like a full-length trailer came out. I think it was like yesterday. I gotta say that this movie looks hilarious after watching the, like, I found it kind of cute in the first trailer, but it was a teaser, and I was just like, oh, that seems interesting. But then I watched the full-length trailer. I'm like, okay, I've got to see this film because this looks hilarious. But my bros, I need to know what you guys thought, because like I like nearly fell off my chair laughing watching this trailer, and this is just a trailer. I get like, yeah. So like, I just got to hear what you guys think of this trailer with Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, and also what's her name from oh my god, Nia Long and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. There's also someone else I remember. David Duchovny. That caught me off guard. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, what did you guys think? Tactix, start with you, man. Like, what do you think?
So, first trailer, I was kind of like, okay. I wasn't sure what this was all about, but I mean, honestly, I've been a fan of Eddie Murphy for years. So like, I'll always give him a chance, and watch whatever he does. So it was great to see him come back onto the Netflix screen, I guess. And yeah, I was curious because it was like it was just a teaser. So I was like, the way that it was set up, I thought it was like it was gonna just take place in that restaurant the entire time, because I was like, what's going on here? It kind of gave off like you know that show, it's that Netflix show that Jerry Seinfeld has, where like getting coffee in cars with comedians or something like that. So it kind of gave that kind of vibe. So I thought that's what they were going for. But then we got the full trailer, and I was telling you guys, or I was telling Umar off air, in the chat, it's been so long since I've legit laughed out loud at a trailer, and this one definitely got me like laughing quite a bit at specific points. And like, of all people, like, who would I like, Eddie Murphy is gonna bring it, you know what I mean, like bring the laughs. But Jonah Hill, although like, he's been mostly known for his comedy, like he really brings it in this with like his anxious like behavior, and like it, like, for one, he looks like Matt, so it, like, that in itself is hilarious to me. Like like he's giving, and for those of you guys who don't know, Matt's my old time best friend, day one, but looks exactly like this. So it was fucking me up a little bit, but I mean,
my mind.
but it was like because I was just imagining, I'm like, what if Matt was like about to marry a black girl? Like, what like, would it be exactly like this? So it was like I was just dying laughing. And then one of the parts, obviously near the end, where he's like, so what's the ETA on the potatoes? Any word on I died at that part.
I died there too.
The other part is like, yo, what's up with white cuz? And he's like, am I white cuz? He's like, well, I'm not white cuz. I'm white cuz. So I was like, yo, I'm done. I'm so in. I'm so in for this movie. So yeah, it was hilarious, man. I'm looking forward to this one for sure.
Darcy.
I mean, yeah, I'm super excited for this one. I'm really excited to see like Eddie in this one because like it just feels like a really strong place for him to be, right? Like really, like it's comedy, but it's like it feels like something, like the tone of it just feels like he's a man who's lived at this point, and it feels like he's just like letting something out. You know what I mean? Like some experiences this man's had, he's just gonna let this out, and it's gonna be hilarious. Plus, I also got to call out a couple other actors that we're gonna see in this. Like Dean Cole is in this. I'm excited to see that. Taco is in this, which I didn't know the guy's name was Taco. That's from Dave. Dave's producer in from this is for Tactix.
Dean Cole. That name sounds familiar.
Oh man, you just Google that. You'll see in 2 seconds.
He's like one of Conan's writers.
He's also in is it Blackish? Is it Blackish?
That's who he is. Yeah. He's a Charlie, right?
Yeah. Charlie.
I love him.
And Tactix from Dave with Little Dicky Dave, the show.
Yeah.
His producer, he's in this. And then we yeah. And then there was like one more I wanted to call out. Oh, Andrew Schulz. Oh, that comedian's like been blowing up on TikTok.
Oh, yeah,
does all the interviews.
Yeah.
I'm like, I saw his name in there. I'm like, there's a lot of really good like people in this. Like
The director is the guy who created Blackish.
Oh, that's just amazing. That's gonna be amazing.
He also co-wrote it with Jonah Hill.
Oh yeah. Kenyon Barris. Yeah. I really, he had a show recently on Netflix that was like him and his, like, it was like he played himself and a woman playing his wife, and they're basically like rich black people who are disconnected from being black and are like and can't figure it out. And my partner and I watched it and we were just like, this is like cheesy and hilarious. Like it was really, really funny because it was like and in one episode they're trying to be down with being black because they lost their blackness, and then it's like in other episodes like doing completely the opposite, and you're just like, you guys have no idea what's going on. And then like they hate each other. Like the whole episode will be like a sitcom, but it's just weird and funny and hilarious. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I just feel like this is going to be strong, much stronger than Coming to America, like the second one, which is named the same as the first one, which doesn't help. I don't know what my camera just died, so y'all can just listen to me. I just looked over, I'm like, yo, I'm on the black of the black of the black. I'll try to turn my camera back on, but overall, yeah, I'm excited to see this, and I think there's also going to be a lot of fun conversation and moments that are going to be like super awkward that will be super hilarious. And
that dinner though,
I think it's just going to be like a better version of Guess Who. in terms of like going farther and not being as cheap with some of the jokes around like interracial things, where I think that like I think there's an area here, especially with Jonah Hill. I think that we might end up with like some very emotional moments, some very difficult moments that, you know, get let loose with some brevity throughout, but are actually tough, you know.
I personally, I gotta say, like, before we go on, like, Darcy, what was the part that you found the most hilarious?
I definitely feel like it was the most awkward part of the trailer. Yeah, thank you. This makes it better for everybody. This is how I look. There's a picture of me up. It's like an avatar. When the conversation took a hard left, when they started comparing the Holocaust to slavery, and then you have Jonah Hill just there with like exactly what Tactix said, like, can I get an ETA on those potatoes? like the awkwardness of being in that moment where you're just like, I cannot do or say anything. This has gone so far. There is nothing. This is like your wife and your mother just not getting along, and you just like can I melt away? Like, can I Homer Simpson into the bush? Like, I can, like, and they're both kind of right and they're both kind of wrong, and you just can't side no matter what you do. Like, just, I'm out.
I'm just so happy it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, because I love her. And like, what my favorite part was when she was trying to connect when he brought this girl home, and she's just like, I think that the police, and you're like, please don't finish that sentence. And it's and he's like, please, mom, just, no, just stop. Oh,
I honestly feel like there might even be some Get Out kind of, not Get Out like literally, but like there was some stuff in there that I was like, oh, they're smart in that they're using the picture of me. They're using some of the language that, like, when she started off, she's like, oh, like Dreyfus, she comes in, she's like, oh, you're so beautiful. And I was like, that, yes, like, that is the stuff where it's like he's trying to look around my picture.
I can't take it serious.
You look around these muscles, bro. But it's like the it's like almost patronizingly like, oh, you're so beautiful, as if like you weren't expecting the person to be beautiful because they're different than you. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I feel like this movie's gonna get into it. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, like I'm all in for this movie, and I can't wait to watch it. This has to be a Bros Night film.
Mm-hmm. When does it come out again?
Soon, right?
I didn't catch that. Like, Netflix, like, whenever they drop their trailers, like, the movie comes out like really soon afterwards.
You people, it's of course I should type a release date. January 27th.
Oh yeah, it's like 20, like less like 20 days.
Yeah, 21 days. Yeah, I guess we have to organize something at someone's house.
I guess the 28th.
True.
What are you guys doing on January 28th?
Or we can move our Bros Night to the 28th.
I don't want to lose that. Let's have 2.
All right.
Just for everyone watching and listening, this is how it is for me trying to organize stuff for them. They're like, okay, we'll see you again.
well, right now we are at a point where I need to, I'm gonna get castrated if I don't get going soon, because someone's waiting on me to go to the gym. So I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, we've got a little bit over than we tend to usually do. We're getting longer and longer, which is probably I'm gonna stop right there. So anyway,
on that note, I'm your
Yeah,
boy
I'm gonna follow you back
Tactix.
to you, G.
This has been Geeky Bros Podcast.
Yo,
He's
just
signing
Darcy
off
here.
quickly.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Live long and prosper, y'all. Like and subscribe.